Hello, my name is Ilona, and in this video I again want to connect two themes that I think are very connected. First of all was a question, what is in your soul's plan, your soul's contract, and how do you put it there? You know, what's going on with your soul contract? And the second one is, how do you end up in a certain situation? And usually those are not the nicest situation. How do you end up there? Well, they are very connected in my perception and how I see things, and that your soul contract is ultimately what your soul decides to do here in this life before your soul incarnates. And usually we don't remember that. I've talked about that before, that I'm sure that had a different reason, but let's just focus on your soul contract. And in your soul contract could be anything. It's usually the baggage from other lifetimes that you want to heal, or future lifetimes, because ultimately there is no time, that you want to heal now in this lifetime. So certain circumstances are created that could help you to deal with certain things, heal certain things, so you'll end up in certain families, with certain parents, in certain situations that are there. Even if it may seem to us like very cruel situations, usually it has to do with that it's possible for you to learn that way. Maybe in former lifetimes things happen that need to be healed, and we of course don't know what kind of lifetimes we've all been in. We've all been on both sides, so sometimes there are things you need to experience the other side. But ultimately, all kinds of things can be in your soul contract. Maybe taking responsibility, putting down boundaries, learning to love, learning to open yourself, to connect with your mind, or maybe even connect with your body. It can be anything, because obviously we are unique and we have unique experiences. So your soul contract is very unique to your situation. And maybe you had contracts with other souls to meet and hopefully help each other, or maybe you ask someone to come into your life for a short period of time to maybe, open your eyes for certain things, or like a confrontation that is necessary for you to grow, at least give you the possibility to grow. So it could be anything. I do believe that a soul contract is flexible in a way. And that may sound very strange, because a lot of people have this, just like with horoscopes, like it's set in stone. Well, that's the way it is. I don't truly believe that. I believe we can use the horoscope just as insight in yourselves, but you can still grow and outgrow that. You know, if you start healing all these aspects in a horoscope or in your soul contract, you will open up different possibilities. And that is of course connected is, how do you end up in a certain situation? It usually has to do with your soul contract, but also with your choices you make. That is really a key component in this entire situation. So when you have a soul contract, and maybe you can see it like a locker and there's baggage in there, and the soul wants you in this lifetime to open that door and get that baggage out and start healing, clearing, whatever is necessary to, in a way, heal that baggage. But if you're in a certain position and you don't want to do that, so you don't want that responsibility, it's too much, the entire situation is, you just don't want to handle this, you will push that baggage away, and you're probably going to shove more in that locker to keep it there. So you could start using certain substances to, numb the pain, to keep yourself occupied, or maybe other things you could start to react to all the pain or hurt or whatever it could be in there that could help you, but you don't want to deal with that. You don't know how to deal with that. And then, of course, it will just become bigger and bigger, and your energy will become heavier and heavier. So the situations you will start to draw in will become tougher for you, will become more negative. You could see that maybe in your environment, in people that, the past almost 5 years now in March, what has happened, there are a lot of people that still believe in that narrative and still are going to get these things, which will have issues for them physically, mentally, emotionally, and they're just going to get in a more and more awful situation. But those are choices people made. Even if they are not aware or are aware, those are choices you make. And just like people that don't want to take responsibility for the things they carry with them, the baggage, the patterns, they don't want to look at that, it's going to get tougher and tougher. In that case, your soul contracts will, of course, go down with your, choices, and your life will become tougher because your soul wants to heal it, but you're putting more and more pressure on it because you don't want to look at something, and it's going to clash. It will lead to, it can lead to all kinds of situations. So to really answer how and why do you end up in certain situations has to do with your soul and learning something. Even it could be awful situations. We all know things can happen, accident, awful, natural things can happen. And it's very important to understand that you're not there if there's no connection to you. So there's always something you can learn from that, even if it would mean that you, may not survive that, what is happening. It has, maybe that's what your soul wants to learn, because we do look at it usually with a human eye. So we want to stay, life is more important than death, and we are afraid of death, of course, so we want to avoid it, most people, at any cost, without realizing for a soul, maybe that is exactly the experience they need to experience to, heal things. But also a soul is eternal. Soul doesn't die, but we're so programmed in a way to just look at this life as the only life that we have, that's why we want to hold on to it. So if things happening, and of course it can be very sad, things happen to loved ones, people you care about, but ultimately in the greater scheme of things, in the bigger picture, it doesn't really matter. It has to do with the soul contract. But we also know situations where been awful situations and people miraculously survive things. It also has to do with soul contracts and what's necessary for that person, to survive, because it is important for the person's soul path. So that's why how you end up in situations is connected with your soul path, but soul contract, soul plan, but also with your choices. So your choices is really which direction it is going. So for instance, if you do not want to take any responsibility, you keep pushing things away, your life is going to get tougher, the situations are going to get more difficult, and things will just start piling up. You have people that are always in this victim mentality, and they will just draw in all these awful situations because that is connected with their energy. But then again, if you do open up your locker and the baggage and you start working with that, you will create a completely different life, because you will become lighter, you will become more balanced. You will connect with the dark and the light, and you will heal. You will start to become balanced, and you will draw in nicer situations, people that connect with you, people that, are resonating with you. So it's very important to look at your life. Are there areas in your life you still need to deal with? Are there areas you can, heal? Are there certain patterns? It's so important to start doing that work, the shadow work, and of course also connected with the light work. What makes you happy? What are you passionate about? You can balance that, and by doing that, you will create a better life for you, because that will fit with your soul plan. And by doing that, by healing things, you can kind of just switch up things, and you will lead yourself down a completely different path, because the soul plan contract will, of course, connect with your energy and will change as well. So it will open up completely different situations. And that is very important to understand. So look at your life. Are there still areas that don't feel right to you? You can connect with that and see if there are things you can heal. And by doing that, you will really connect with the best version you can create. And that is really limitless if you think about that. So really be aware of that. And that's why it's so important to do shadow work, but also do light work. Connect them both and balance yourself. I'd like to leave it at this. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.